A brand spanking new Nick Nanos poll gives us the first public perception peek into how Canadians view the 14-entry Conservative leadership debate. Nick is here in the studio to parse the findings, and we're joined from Vancouver for analysis by Conservative commentator Elise Mills. Spanking might be the word here for a few of them, Nick. Let's quickly get to the winners on this. Tell us who's surprising you in this race. Kevin O'Leary on top.
Well, you know, we asked Canadians in the poll that we did for CTV News, we asked Canadians which of the 14 candidates for the Conservative Party leadership was the most appealing to them. And there are, you know, I think it would be fair to say there are 4, and then there are the rest. You know, at the top of the list, you can see Kevin O'Leary at 14.6%, Michael Chong at 9.2%, Maxime Bernier 8.5%, Lisa Raitt 7.1%, and then I'd like to stop reading the list because then there are the rest. So in terms of appeal, you can see that those were the top choices at this particular point in time.
Very quickly, we talk a lot about name recognition being the big factor for Kevin O'Leary, but that number for Kelly Leitch, who's got a lot of name recognition too, is very surprising, isn't it?
You mean the 2.4%?
2.4%. Like
yes.
that's in binocular field.
Not good. Not good. I don't want to get too technical. That's not a good number for Kelly Leitch. You know, and I think we should speak. There's a difference between being in the news and driving positive definition. And I think everyone knows that Kelly Leitch has been in the news. Yeah. But this poll suggests that her appeal does not correspond with her profile.
You know, Elise, I want to get your thoughts. You're pretty plugged into the Conservative machinery on all these candidates. Are you surprised that O'Leary's leapt into such a big lead and that Kelly Leitch seems to be fading in the final stretch here?
No, I think that it's actually a positive for me because I think that what we're talking about is a lack of authenticity. And I don't think it's just Conservative voters or Liberal voters. I think the general public in North America or the Western world can smell lack of authenticity. And you know, Kelly Leitch provided a huge U-turn in who she was before the leadership campaign and thought that she could ride emulating what she thought were the key components to a U.S. Republican race. And she took, not just from Donald Trump, she took a smattering from other people as well, and she took a smattering from the Republican Party itself and thought she could translate it here. But when push came to shove, she really became a single-issue candidate. And as Nick said, you know, she drove a lot of media, but she drove it negatively. And I think that's resonating with Canadians. I never thought she was going to be a candidate that Canadians would get behind.
Yeah, quickly on this one as well, Elise, I'll stick with you on this because, you know, Conservative mentality. Do you think this poll parallels, because this is of all Canadians, does this kind of reflect where the Conservative Party is as well?
Well, no offense to Nick, but no. I think that there's a lot of other factors that go in. Yeah, and I'm glad that you do. But I think there's a lot of other factors that are happening. And I think what some of the candidates are completely missing out is that conversation with average Conservatives and what their feelings were after the 2015 campaign, what they feel must be done now. And, you know, things like endorsements and caucus support, that's not resonating with our average voter. The people that are saving up just to go to Toronto to be part of this because they're so frustrated with the way the party's gone. I'm not so sure that the candidates really fully understand who they're talking to and how regional a lot of those pockets are and how diverse it is. But, you know, it's like I said, it's very, very different. Even the way that they look at bilingualism, I know that was a question that Nick put to Canadians as well. Yeah. I'm not so sure it's even that straightforward with Canadians.
All right, yeah, you know, the reality is this does not project who is going to win or will even do well in the Conservative leadership race. However, this is actually about a more important question. Who can challenge the Liberals and potentially win an election? And, you know, for the Conservatives, that's really what this whole process is about, trying to select a new leader that has some sort of appeal that can challenge Justin Trudeau. And from these numbers, there are 4 at the top of the list.
Just, at least before you jump in, Nick, bring in the bilingual poll results. That was kind of interesting, too.
Yeah, we asked Canadians how likely or unlikely they were to vote for or against a candidate that could not speak both English and French. And you can see that 33% said that they were likely to vote against, another 16%, and 34% unlikely, and another 11% somewhat unlikely. So, you know, Canadians are divided on this issue. You know, I think the one key takeaway are the regional numbers. Not being bilingual is really only a factor in the province of Quebec. About 2 out of every 3 Quebecers would basically dismiss a candidate who could not speak both French and English.
Now, Elise, I want to get your thoughts because I've only got a minute left. You monitored a debate last night in Quebec, and Kevin O'Leary was there. He tried to speak some French, and I'm looking at these poll numbers, and they want a bilingual candidate, but he was getting hit pretty hard on people not thinking he's a real conservative. What did you take away from that debate?
Well, first of all, I mean, bilingualism, that's a great topic talking about last night. First of all, it was a much bigger crowd there than I originally suspected it would be. And I'm not sure if that was because Kevin O'Leary was there or where there's, a sudden huge interest in that type of leadership debate, keeping in mind it was the riding that put that on. Not the best production I've ever seen, but I think it gave us a pretty clear indication to where a couple of the candidates are going. And I just want to point out Nick's numbers on bilingualism. It's whether they're fluent in English or French. I think Canadians and Conservatives mirror each other on proficiency. Can you communicate at a reasonable level in either official language? So I think for Kevin O'Leary, I think that's why we're still seeing the numbers in Nick's poll that we are, and with other candidates as well. But the takeaway from last night was that Erin O'Toole was going to get tough and define what conservatism was. Same with Lisa Raitt, Kelly Leitch. I don't think it worked out that well for them. I think one of the defining moments was Kevin O'Leary standing up, grabbing the mic and saying, look, we're not going to get into the social conservative policies that have hamstrung us in the past. You can keep your personal opinions, but where we're going is that we're talking about freedoms and liberties, and we're going to focus in on the economy and fiscal issues that Canadians are concerned about. And Nick's right. That's actually the ballot box question that Nick's got in his poll. Who can beat Justin Trudeau? And today, I think for the O'Leary campaign, that he's the answer to that question.
All right. Elise, thanks for joining us. Nick, you too. We'll keep monitoring this. It's getting a little more interesting. Okay.